Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys for being here today. I just wanted to say thank you so much to all of you who have taken the time to subscribe and like and comment and share. I hope you guys are enjoying these patterns. I am loving making them for you guys. So thank you for being here. So today I'm going to show you how to knit my latest design. This is my Waffles with Honey hat. It features this really beautiful honeycomb cable panel. And then it is surrounded on either side by a modified waffle stitch, and that goes throughout the back as well. This is a super stretchy, comfy, cozy type of hat, and it's got a lot of texture, and it's just super fun knit. So a couple things I wanted to mention in this tutorial. I'm going to show you how to create a single brim. This is just a simple 1x1 knit 1 per 1 brim, but in the written pattern you have the option to create a folded brim if you would like. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that I'm going to be knitting today with acrylic yarn. I am using Yarn B's Yarn ID in the color fawn. And because the acrylic yarn is a little bit thicker, I'm actually going to be dropping down a needle size. I'm going to be using a 5mm knitting needle for the body instead of a 5.5. So you're going to see that difference from the video and the pattern, just to let you know. But you are going to need a pair of scissors, a cabling needle. You are going to need 3 stitch markers. You want your beginning of the round marker to be different from your other 2 stitch markers. It's just so you can differentiate between the beginning of the round and then the markers that are going to indicate where the cabling pattern begins and ends. So just keep that in mind. You are also going to need a pair of 4.5mm circular knitting needles, as well as a pair of 5mm circular knitting needles if you're going to be following along. So you are also going to need, of course, a skein of medium worsted weight yarn, and like I said, I'm using acrylic, but as long as you're meeting the gauge requirements, then you should be good to go. So first you are going to cast on 94 stitches and join in the round. So I've already gone ahead and cast on my 94 stitches, but I am going to show you how I join in the round. I like to use the invisible join, which is a specific technique. So you want to make sure that all of your stitches are nice and even. And for the invisible join, you are going to want to go ahead and cast on 1 additional stitch. So we have our 94 stitches. I'm going to cast on 1 additional stitch. So now we have 95 stitches, but don't worry, we're going to be dropping off that 95th stitch before we start working. So what you're going to do is you're going to slip the first stitch from your left hand needle onto your right hand needle. So I'm going in purlwise, slipping the stitch from the left needle to the right. Then we're taking this additional stitch that we just cast on, and we are going to bring it up over that stitch and then drop it off. And you can see here we've just joined in the round. This is called the invisible join. But what I'm going to do now is place that stitch back onto our left hand needle. You can see we are nice and close. We have joined in the round. And then what I like to do is give it a little tug, and then I like to just tie a little knot at the bottom between, I use my tail and my working yarn, and I just tie a little knot. And I feel that this just helps to secure the join. And I'm going to go ahead and weave that in later. You won't even know it's there. And there you go. That is the invisible join method. So now we are back to having 94 stitches on our needle. And we are going to go ahead and get started on our 1x1 rib. So you're going to want to place your beginning of the round stitch marker, and then we are simply going to be knitting 1 and purling 1 all the way around for rounds 1 through 12. We're going to knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, and like I said, we're just going to continue working in our 1 by 1 rib, knitting 1, purling 1 for the next 12 rounds. And once you've completed your single brim, your 12th round, I will meet you and show you what to do for round 1 of the body. Okay, so we've made it to round 1 of the body. So the first thing you are going to do is switch to your 5mm circular knitting needles, which I've already done. And for round 1, we are simply going to knit the first 28 stitches. Then we will place our stitch marker. We will knit 40 stitches, place our stitch marker, our second stitch marker, and then we will knit 26 stitches. So I'm still working on the first 28. All right, so once you've knit 28 stitches, you are going to place your first place marker. I should really be saying place marker. And then you are going to knit the next 40 stitches. Okay, I'm just double checking to make sure that I have 40 stitches. And once you've knit those 40 stitches, you're going to go ahead and place your second place marker. And then we are going to continue on knitting. We're going to knit the last 26 stitches all the way back around to the beginning of the round marker. Okay, we've completed our first round, and I just wanted to go ahead and show you here the spaces in between those two place markers. That little space is where you're going to be working your cable, your honeycomb cable panel. And then back here, this is going to be the back and the sides. So I just wanted to show you to give you a little bit of perspective. So we are going to go ahead and move on to round 2 of the body. Round 2 is really easy. It's just a straight knit the entire round. So we're just going to go ahead and knit this entire round, and you just want to make sure that you are slipping your stitch markers as you go. But really easy. So once you've knit this entire round, I will meet you for round 3 to show you what to do. Okay, so we are ready to begin round 3. Round 3 is where things get a little more interesting. We are going to start our first cable in this round. So first we are going to knit 2 and purl 2 7 times. So that's going to be the first half of the waffle stitch before we hit the cabling. So we're going to knit 1, 2, and then purl 2. Purl 2, and that counts as 1, and we're going to repeat that 7 times. So knit 2, purl 2, that's 2 repeats. We're going to knit 2, purl 2, that's 3 repeats. Knit 2, purl 2, that's 4. Knit 2, purl 2, that is 5. Knit 2, purl 2, 6, knit 2, purl 2, that is our 7th repeat. And so now you see we've made it to our first, you can start to see the kind of the waffle pattern start to take shape a little bit. But we've made it back to our first place marker. We're going to slip that. And now we are ready to begin our cabling here in the middle. So you're going to want to take your cable needle, and we are going to be cabling 4 back and cabling 4 front, and we are going to do that 5 times. So first we are going to slip these first 2 stitches onto our cabling needle, and we are going to hold it towards the back of our work. Then we are going to go ahead and knit these next 2 stitches from our left hand needle. 1, 2, and then we are going to knit those 2 stitches off of our cable needle. 1, 2. That was our first cable 4 back, and you can see we've got this little right leaning cable. And now we are going to slip those next 2 stitches on to our cabling needle, and this time we are going to hold it towards the front of our work. We are going to knit the next 2 stitches from our left hand needle. 2. And then again we're going to go ahead and knit those 2 stitches off of our cabling needle. And then there you have it. So we've just completed our first set of cables. That's a cable 4 back and cable 4 front, and we are going to repeat that 5 times altogether. So that was one set. Now we are going to cable 4 back again, knitting these 2 stitches off of our left hand needle, and then knitting these 2 stitches off of the cabling needle. So there's the cable 4 back. We are going to slip these next 2 stitches onto our cabling needle, this time holding it towards the front of our work. We are going to knit the next 2 stitches off of our left hand needle. And then we are going to knit these 2 stitches off of our cabling needle. So that was the second cable forefront. So now we're just going to repeat that 3 more times, and once we make it back to the place marker, then we will begin the second half of our waffle stitch. Okay, we've made it back to our second place marker. So we're going to go ahead and slip that over, and now we are continuing on with our waffle stitch pattern. So you can see here's the waffle stitch, and then in between our markers we've got our cabling, and now we are continuing on our waffle stitch. For this side, however, we are going to be starting with a purl 2, knit 2, and we are going to be purling 2, 1, 2, and knitting 2, 1, 2, and we are going to be repeating that 6 times. So that's our first repeat of purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, So those last 2 stitches here, you are going to be purling 2. If you were ending on a knit 2, you know you did something wrong. So the beginning of the round is a knit 2, and so we want to end on a purl 2. That way it's a nice clean continuation of the waffle stitch. Okay, so we have made it to round 4. For round 4, we are going to continue on with our waffle stitch pattern here. We are going to start by knitting 2 and purling 2 7 times. So knit 1, 2, purl 1, 2, and we are going to do that till we make it back to the first place marker. Okay, now we've reached our first place marker, and all we are going to be doing is knitting 40. So we are just going to go ahead and knit all the way across our cable work, and And you just want to make sure that you are keeping your cable section a little bit snug. Not too tight, but you want it to be snug. So now we've just finished knitting those 40 stitches. We're going to slip that second place marker over, and we are going to continue on the second half of our waffle stitch. Again, we are going to be purling 2 and knitting 2 6 times, and then purling the last 2 stitches. So we are going to purl 2, knit 2, Okay, you're just going to purl these last 2 stitches, and then we will move on to round 5. Okay, for rounds 5 and 6, all you have to do is knit the entire round. So really simple, straightforward, just knit all the way around, and then I will meet you back for round 7, and I will show you what to do from there. Okay, round 7 is going to be our second round of cabling. So again, at the beginning, we are going to work our waffle stitch. So we are going to knit 2, purl 2, 7 times. So we are going to knit 2, purl 2. Okay, I just went ahead and skipped on through. So now we've done our waffle stitch, and we've made it to our first place marker. You can start to see our cabling here. It doesn't look like much now, but after this second round of cables, you are really going to start to see that honeycomb pattern. So we are now going to begin with our cable for front. So we are going to slip the first 2 stitches on to our cable needle, and then bring those stitches to the front of our work. We are going to knit the next 2 stitches from the left hand needle, and then knit those 2 stitches off of our cable needle. And this is going to create a left leaning cable, and you can kind of start seeing, hopefully you can see that little cable leg leaning there towards the left. And then we are going to do our cable for back. And this time we are going to slip the first 2 stitches onto our cable needle, and then hold it towards the back of our work. Knit 2 stitches from the left hand needle, and then knit those 2 stitches off of our cabling needle. And that counts as our first repeat of the C4 front, C4 back. And see, that's our right leaning and our left leaning cables, and it makes this really beautiful circular honeycomb pattern. So we are just going to continue with our cabling, slipping those 2 stitches, holding towards the front, knitting 2 stitches off of the left hand needle, and then knitting those 2 stitches off of our cabling needle. And then our C4 back, we are going to slip 2 stitches onto the cable needle, hold it towards the back of our work, knit 2 stitches off of our left hand needle, and go ahead and knit those 2 stitches off of our cabling needle. And that was our second repeat. And you want to do this 5 times. And look at that, you're going to start to see your honeycombs shaping up. So I just went ahead and skipped on through. So once you finish those 5 repeats, you should have a row of cables that look like this. And now we are going to go ahead and continue with our waffle stitch and finish off round 7 with a purl 2, knit 2. And we're going to do that again 6 times. So purl the first 2 stitches, knit the next 2 stitches, Okay, so these last 2 stitches we are going to go ahead and purl. And now we are ready to move on to our final round. Round 8 is the exact same as round 4. We are going to knit 2, purl 2 7 times, and then we will knit 40, and then purl 2, knit 2 6 times, and then purl 2. So just as before, we are going to knit 2, purl 2, and I'm not going to bore you with the play-by-play. At this point, I think you can follow. So we're going to knit 2, purl 2. All right, and like I said, we are not going to show every step because I think you guys have it down by now. So we've made it to this place marker, and we are going to just go ahead and knit the next 40 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I went ahead and skipped on through that as well. And we are on the last part. We are going to be purling 2, knitting 2 6 times, just as we did before. It's 1 repeat. Okay, when you make it back to the last 2 stitches, you are simply going to purl the last 2 stitches. So you just want to repeat rounds 1 through 8 of the body until your hat measures 7.5 inches from the cast on edge, and then meet me in part 2 for the decrease.